It's a great pleasure to follow the noble lady Baroness Anderson of Stoke-on-Trent, who so comprehensively and powerfully sent out the need for this bill. And I also like to put on record my commendation to the Honourable Chris Elmore for taking it up and seeing it through the other place. I wanted to speak in this debate to express Green Party support for this bill. For fathers and partners who find themselves in the most tragic of circumstances, find themselves as a single parent as a result of the death of a partner or spouse. These are circumstances that, of course, we all struggle to imagine how people survive it, but of course they have to. And I do have to reference the amount of discussion we've had this week about the evident need to dramatically improve maternity care. But whatever we manage to achieve in that area, there will still be tragic occasions like this. We need this law to cover. And I think it's really interesting to note that this is a real indication of how Parliament, the parliamentary process, can and should work, and so rarely does. We are amending the Employment Rights Act of 1996, and during committee stage in the other place, the original proposed bill was amended to cover a broader range of circumstances, covering fully adoption and surrogacy, covering also, as the noble lady said, the situation where a child dies. It really was a copybook process that we'd like to see done a lot more to produce good legislation and do things that need to be done and that don't need to be regarded as political. Now, I note the discussion occurred in the other place that this does not cover Northern Ireland, and there was some suggestion that it might be possible to extend it to Northern Ireland. So I don't know if the Noble Lord the Minister is able to make any comments on whether that's technically possible, whether it's feasible, whether that's been taken forward in any way, because it was raised in the other place. I also just want to briefly acknowledge, as the noble lady has already done, the work of Gingerbread in making the case for this and driving this legislation through. It really is a demonstration that campaigning works. Campaigning can be a very long and thankless task, and people have to put an enormous amount of effort in, but it does deliver. And we really need to acknowledge the importance of civil society voices being heard across both chambers and being listened to and being acted on. And just finally, I really want to look at the broader context of this bill. It restates an important principle that when a child is born, they're not just an individual and they're not just a member of a family. They are a member of our society. They are very definitely not the property of their parents. They are not the sole responsibility of their parent or parents. They are the responsibility of all of us. Society has a responsibility to make sure that every child can have a decent start in life. That's a moral position that sadly seems to need to be increasingly restated these days. But it's also a practical position in that if we are going to have a functioning society tackle the many challenges and crises that we now face, we need to make sure that every human being in our society is able to develop to their full potential. That we cannot afford to abandon any child or abandon any parent to struggle along trying to raise a child in impossible circumstances without the resources to do the job. So, my lords, a really excellent piece of work. Congratulations to everyone involved, and like the noble lady, I look forward to it being on the statute book and the regulations in place as soon as possible.